Hey guys, happy Thursday. Welcome back to All I See is W, where the goal of this channel is to gain on positive proceeds and lead with an altruistic mindset. In today's video, we'll be covering latest updates with Ether as well as BMNR, along with covering macro scale updates with, what could potentially go for the rest of Q4, especially with macro news and potential with crypto stocks having a bullish Q4. We'll also be doing technical analysis of ETH and BMNR, as well as just cover the latest updates with how Tom Lee's BitMine company is growing in terms of its, treasury reserve with the amount of Ethereum Tom Lee has been buying. Now, if you're new to this channel and you enjoy this content, I would really appreciate you hitting the like, subscribing, and you don't want to miss out towards the end where I will be playing a video clip of Tom Lee with this interview with Anthony Pompliano. Let's begin, guys.
Like I said, earnings, economy, rate cuts, even those who say valuation, I don't love it, they fall back on the former, which is why they believe that this move isn't over.
I'm in that camp too, Scott. I think that we're entering the sort of critical last 10 weeks of the year at a time when not only earnings are good, but we have a Fed that's going to be in an easing cycle. I think there's going to be some good news eventually on the shutdown. And then we know that there was already a bit of deleveraging that took place about 10 days ago because of that VIX spike and the headlines. And so there's going to be, I think, a setup for a chase into year end. So I think all of this means that the S&P can close at least at 7,000. I actually think that's a low number by the end of the year.
You still do. So, as I said, earnings, economy, rate cut.
So there you have it. Tom Lee forecasting S&P will likely hit 7,000 by year end. Let's take a look at this post. Donnie says bears are freaking cooked. JP Morgan says the Fed will end QT next week at the FOMC meeting. CPI code tomorrow. CZ pardoned by the US government. Bullish earning reports end of month. Trump and President Xi deal coming. In fact, Trump is going to be visiting with Xi, in less than, a week or so. Gold locally top risk signal will come from all the above, and liquidity will flow into Bitcoin. Just remember what I've been saying endlessly. The next price discovery breakout will send the entire crypto market into a multi-month quarter rally. It's coming, with, Bitcoin expected to have a run up. Ether will also have a run up as well. Trump and Xi meeting is set. In fact, they'll be meeting, October 30th, next Thursday in South Korea. So this is going to be very monumental. And let's say if a deal comes out, that's going to bring more, clarity around the stock market, crypto, and people are going to like this news. And that's going to increase confidence with the negotiations between the two largest countries. Cointelegraph posts ETH forms a triple bottom near 3,800 as whales buy the dip, hinting at a possible move towards 4,200. We see this triple bottom. ETH doesn't want to get any lower. It's holding ground. It's ready to bounce. We see this bull flag playing out. I really do think that we're going to start seeing a nice, reversal to the upside with Ethereum. So the longer the consolidation, the bigger the squeeze. Crypto Gucci posts the Fed cuts rates in 6 days and people are still bearish on ETH. This is literally the most bullish macro setup we've seen in the history of Ethereum. ETH is going so much higher. You got 96%, with the expected target rate probabilities for, October 29th Fed meeting. So you got rate cuts on Wednesday and you got, President Trump meeting with Xi the following day. That's going to be like double variable catalyst for crypto and stocks to really pump. Crypto Gucci also posts tokenized real world assets will grow from 34 billion today to 300 billion in the next 12 months. All of this growth will happen on Ethereum because traditional finance trusts Ethereum. It is relevant that other chains are faster or cheaper. Ethereum has been around for over 10 years and has never gone down. For traditional finance, trustworthiness trumps marginal speed and cost savings every day of the week. That just tells you that Ethereum blockchain is just going to continue to grow exponentially with high demand of developers really looking into expanding the network. Cole posts about BMNR. He's saying might be one of the best plays in November if this plays out. Added more November $60 calls if this $49 area turns out to be the bottom here for the fourth time. Expecting $60 plus in November. So when you look at that, I mean, that's definitely some huge upside. We've seen some support, early, September. At $40 prior to that August. It had a support at 30. It continues to grow with higher lows established. We see a double bottom, especially in the month of October and September, and that's expected, especially with, crypto markets having a pullback in October. But that doesn't mean that the rest of Q4 is going to be bearish. I'm thinking we're going to see nice reversal to the upside. In fact, BMNR has been, consolidating for more than 3 weeks now. I do expect us to see a bullish momentum candle starting very soon. Let's take a look at the strategic ETH reserve. So obviously we know BitMine, they're number one right now in terms of total HODL with Ethereum, 3.24 million tokens that they have. That equates to $12.5 billion. Their rate of growth in the last 30 days, 34%. That just shows you their strength. Their total percentage supply now getting close to 2.7%. Their goal is the 5%, alchemy of Ethereum. But let's just look at this. They continue to stack. And here's an interesting thing. Look at the amount of ETH they've been buying. So when there's dips with ETH, they load up even more. And now, equating to 3.42 million ETH with a total supply of 2.68%. As soon as we start seeing ETH, go up, that's going to be the power effect where, it's going to be that multiplier. MNAB is going to increase, earnings per share is going to increase, and their target progress, it's going to get close to that 100%. But who knows? They might, in fact, get towards a target of 10% of the entire ETH supply. Let's pivot over to technical analysis. So we're looking at Ethereum. We got the Fibonacci levels turned on, and one of the good things that we see is ETH is, holding ground at like the 618 Fib level. So this is definitely showing, the basement low support. I mean, we've seen 618 be hit multiple times now. I mean, it used to be the prior resistance back in July, right? It had a rejection July, retested, it got rejected, it went lower and then it broke above that, got, to the 1 Fib levels, and it's been hovering. And now we see a pullback, having prior resistance become the new support. That's the prime recipe for the next leg up. Last bull candle we got was September 29. So that's been, over like 3 weeks now, getting close to 4 weeks since that last momentum candle. So definitely opportunity to buy low, and then we're going to see that reversal to the upside. I do think that we still have opportunity for ETH to get to that golden ratio 1618 Fib levels. That puts, ETH at like 6.6 thousand per Ethereum. So definitely some huge upside. We see this nice consolidation range. And I know the whales are, definitely accumulating at this date, and soon enough, we're going to see, Ethereum run. And just with Bitcoin, I mean, their greatest movements happen like within 10 days out of the year. So definitely staying in position, whether it's ETH, BMNR, you name it, because when it comes, it'll come very fast. Let's pivot over to BMNR technical analysis. What are we seeing right now? We also have, the Fib levels turned on. What I'm anticipating is that we're going to see wave five, really play out. We finished with the wave four. Last time we got the bull candle, the momentum candle was like October 2nd. So, over 3 weeks now since we've seen some, retracement, huge retracement. In fact, getting to like 65, then it tested, it had wicks of like 46, now building a base at 49. I think tomorrow's going to be a nice bullish day. We might, have like 52 or 53 end of the week. But I think as we head into November, this is going to look very bullish. How high can we go? We know that it tested previously, 65. At one point back in August, it tested 71, had a pullback. Elliott Wave 5, I'm anticipating is going to be playing out. We might get to these levels around 77, 80. consolidate, have some slight retracement before we climb up to triple digits. All dependent on, let's say, Ethereum, it goes above, 5,000, 6,000. We're going to see the speed velocity of BMNR, really take off, and we're going to see well accumulation continue to grow up. But what we want to see is, having rise in the volume, smart money buying in, and then we'll see the ascending wave five play out for BMNR. But I'm very bullish that we could definitely see a run to like 70, $80. Question is, can it get to triple digits? That's still not ruled out yet for Q4, but definitely we'll see that, as we look at it from a long-term perspective.
Does that mean gold is unlimited on the upside? I don't know. I mean, I'm not studying it, so I don't know. But I think it's very bullish for Bitcoin and Ethereum because
Why?
well, gold moves first, and then Bitcoin catches up. So I think that there is going to be the network value of gold just went up by a lot. And so let's say gold settles at 5,000. That puts fair value of Bitcoin, like 1.6 to 2 million if it matches gold's network value. So I think it's actually helping Bitcoin's future terminal price.
So you think that if gold settles at 5,000, Bitcoin, you take the gold market cap divided by the number of Bitcoin, then you get 1.6 to $2 million per coin. What's the time frame for us to get there?
Well, I mean, I can see that in 5 years for Bitcoin. So I think
years.
Yeah. I think
That'd be
Bitcoin. Yeah, I think Bitcoin doesn't get capped by gold. It actually gets pulled up by gold.
And
then, because it's growing the monetary base, right?
And then this year, gold's up 60-ish%, Bitcoin's up 18 to 20%, depending on the day. Do you think that on December 31st of 2025, we'll actually look back and could Bitcoin have outperformed gold in 2025, even though it has such a big lead right now?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of time. We have 10 weeks. As you know, Bitcoin makes its move in 10 days a year. So are Bitcoin's best days in the fourth quarter? Probably, because we have catalysts, the Fed's easing. We have a shutdown that's been risk off. We have China-US tensions that, look, every time there's a headline on China, like Bitcoin takes a gut punch, right? Because it is money flows and deleveraging. So that goes away. We have seasonality that favors stocks moving up. Stocks moving helps Bitcoin. So to me, the chances of Bitcoin having a huge fourth quarter are really high. And not all of these would be tailwinds for gold. So I wouldn't count. I still think it's possible for Bitcoin to hit 200,000 by the end of the year.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe. Thanks, guys, for watching.